here. Come here.
I was the oldest of three. I had a father who was a gambler, grew up with two maybe childlike and irresponsible parents, and only when I grew up did I realize that I must have felt like I had to compensate and take care of my brother and sister and myself. I didn't realize at the time that I was probably the adult in the family, even though I was a kid, because I was basically felt responsible for my brother and sister because of my parents. I was raised in San Diego, California, and I went up to the 2 weeks of the 9th grade in schools in San Diego. In the 8th grade, I met a boy from the neighborhood, and we became serious, and I got pregnant, and had to drop out of school because they didn't allow, when you were pregnant, you couldn't go to a regular public school. You had to go to a special school where kids who had problems, I guess pregnancy was a problem, and in their mind, and so I didn't want to do that. I was afraid. I was afraid that since there was a mixture of problem kids and myself, I would be in danger, so I had to drop out of school. We did get married against my dad's wishes. He said to me, "You made your bed, you'll lie in it." Anytime he would catch me with my boyfriend, I would get in trouble. This one particular day, though, he told me, "You're never going to see him again. That's it. You know, that's the end of it." I went upstairs, and I'm getting agita from this. I opened the medicine cabinet, and I took everything I could find in the medicine cabinet, and I sent my sister over to tell my boyfriend. He was over at his friend's across the street. The next thing I know, I woke up in a I don't want to say a mental hospital, but a place where I was strapped down. My arms were strapped down, and I was on a gurney in this strange place where they had sent me because I tried to commit suicide. And I watched the people around me, and I thought, nothing is worth doing this. Nothing is worth taking your life, because you have people out there who care about you, and you're hurting them too. So that's when I decided I would never, ever, no matter what, ever try that again. So I didn't think I was going to be able to marry the father of the baby. My mother, however, went against my dad's wishes and signed for me. It was probably a way of running away. Not that I thought I was madly in love at that time, you know, and I just happened to have gotten pregnant.
Do you feel like you missed out on the high school experience?
I did. I really did. As much as I thought that marriage was wonderful, it was in my plans to be married and have children, but not not that young. And when I would see the teenagers walking down the street laughing and all that, I missed it. I did. I knew that was done for me.
Yeah.
I'm even getting teary-eyed over it.
Okay.
So, yeah, but I did love being a mother. I pretty much got remarried on the rebound. It was a man who wanted to buy the car that I took in the divorce. And we started seeing each other, and I married him pretty quickly. And I was married to him for almost 50 years. When my daughter, and I was divorced at this time, and I was living in a small trailer, and I was supposed to start a job that day, and my daughter she might have been 3, and I smoked at that time, and I would leave my cigarettes and my lighter on the table, the end table in the living room. This trailer was only 25 foot long, so everything was very close. And she had asked me if she could go to the bathroom. Now, she never bothered anything, and I fell back asleep while she went to the bathroom. The next thing I knew, she was screaming, and I ran from the back end where the bedroom was
Yeah.
to the living room, which was the front end of this little trailer, and she was sitting on the couch on fire. She had taken a cigarette. Actually, it wasn't a lighter; it was matches, and she lit the match, burned two of her fingers, threw it down on her pajamas. Her pajamas caught fire. So I first threw some water. I had to pass the sink to get to her, so I threw water on her. Then I put her on the floor in a rug and rolled her up in it to totally get the fire out.
Yeah.
And then I ran to use the public phone in the trailer park, and some guy was on the phone and he wouldn't let me use the phone. I'm pounding on the phone booth and he wouldn't let me use the phone, so I ran back to my car with her and got her in the car and drove her to the base hospital. She had first, second, and third degree burns on her leg, and then she had to go in the hospital for I think a week to have a skin graft to cover the leg from the burn. She still has a scar from it. In fact, she had a scar from the other leg even. I don't know if that's still visible. I think that's pretty much gone away. So that was a terrifying experience. Yeah. And that's actually what endeared me to the man I married next. I knew him prior as my first husband's friend.
Yeah.
And he was helping me with my daughter, taking her to the doctor every day while I started this new job I told you about, and having the doctor check her leg out until they decided that she had first, second, and third degree, and she had to go in the hospital to have it debrided and everything. So, and you know, my most important thing to me was my daughter, and a man who loved my daughter and was good to me. Just, I pretty much got married pretty young, you know, again. I was probably like 19 when I remarried again. So I was still very young.
Yeah.
So anyway, so my husband that I married was in the Air Force also, and he was from New York. So that's why I ended up in New York.
It's like a...
I loved California, but he had a job waiting for him in New York, so we came to New York. That's where I had, and I was pregnant at the time, and I had my son in New York, and we lived down in the city, down in Ridgewood, Queens, and boy was that foreign. So after living there for like 8 years, we moved upstate. My husband always wanted to live upstate. And we got a house in Hyde Park. In the meantime, my mother died while I was in Dutchess. I got pregnant with my third child like a year before I graduated. So, and I had many different jobs in the nursing field. I worked in rehab, and I worked in a doctor's office, and I did case management, and worked in a nursing home, and did some home care. Now I'm a retired registered nurse, so good place to be.
Yeah.
So this is my husband who, he passed away, it'll soon be 2 years, March the 12th, 2016 he passed away. And he was on hospice at that time, and they give you a kit of stuff just in case, and I went and got the morphine. They told me if he had trouble breathing and the oxygen wasn't cutting it to give him the morphine, so I gave him a little morphine pill and a sip of coffee. I'm gonna cry. It's okay. That's the last time he was awake. He went to sleep and that was it. He died a few days later. This was on a Thursday. He died Saturday morning. That was hard. That was really hard. Because even though I knew that his time was limited, I didn't realize it would happen so fast. Sorry.
It's fine.
And even though it's almost 2 years, the pain and and missing the person comes in waves. And right now, I think because he's going to be gone 2 years soon, it's you know, foremost on my mind. I moved up here to Red Hook just last year. My We lived in a house in Hyde Park, and it was a lot and I always said if anything happened to my husband, I was going to sell the house and move somewhere else. I met this man named Joe, and he had a wife with Alzheimer's. His wife passed away not long after Ron did. So, and I had taken a job at his home helping with his wife. He had asked the director of the senior daycare where I volunteered if they knew of anybody who could help him with his wife so he could go out and get some shopping done and things like that. So I lived like over the next block. So she recommended me, and I helped with his wife. After Joe's wife died and my husband died, we started doing things together, just going, at first there would be 3 of us going to a movie. There was another girl who also helped with his wife, and dinner, different things like that. And then eventually just Joe and I started dating, I guess you would say. It's like a whole new beginning for me. I'm almost being a child that I never was, doing fun things and looking forward to, going places and doing things. So it's a good thing for me. So then I moved up here to Red Hook, and we've continued our relationship. And the first morning I lived here, I sat in that chair over there and looked around and said, this is my happy home. And that's the way I felt. The sun coming in the window, a fresh new start. The world had no limits at that point. Now what to do with my life. And that's kind of where I am still trying to figure it out. It's almost like a rebirth when you say, okay, I got all these options, and what am I going to do with them, and how am I going to make a difference? I feel like I said, I'm on the verge of a new beginning, a rebirth. It's scary. It's disorienting. Everything's pretty new. Today I was driving past where I used to live, and my instinct, since I lived there 44 years, was to turn left and pull right in there. And I realized, nope, that's not me anymore.
Never cared much. Oh, look at me now. I never knew the technique of kissing. I never knew the thrill I could get from your touch. Never knew much. Oh, look at me.